Hello, my name's Valerie Parente. I'm an author and a poet and an artist, and I just wanted to talk about my brand new poetry and prose collection called Moonchild Manifesto. I've got it right here. This is what it looks like. It's a beautiful book. I made it during the pandemic and during definitely what I think was the hardest time of my life. Moonchild Manifesto was such a beautiful experience to write because it's split up in phases, much like the moon. You can see on the top that's a major motif throughout these poems is the moon phases, hence the name Moonchild. But Moonchild for me means a oversensitive, over-aware person. Somebody who's very emotionally aware, someone who's very obsessive and can't help it, and they think through phases, which are like obsessions. So there's this whole mirror between the moon and the mind throughout Moonchild Manifesto and the poems that transpire throughout Moonchild Manifesto. Moonchild Manifesto is, like I said, split into 3 different parts. So the first is the hurt, and that was pure heartbreak. It was a combination of romantic heartbreak and heartbreak from just living in a world where the pandemic happened and you have obsessive compulsive disorder, germ fears, and oh my god, your worst fear just came true. It's a pandemic. Mainly it's about the heartbreak I went through during that time. So that's the hurt. It's painful, but it's beautiful, and I loved it as I wrote it. It was my saving grace and got me through so much pain. And then the second section of Moonchild Manifesto after the hurt is the heal. And that is a very retrospective, reflective section that goes back to childhood and teenagehood trauma in ways that I didn't realize were affecting me until I started to write about it. A lot of adolescent pain, being someone who developed really severe OCD and very dangerous anorexia during my teenage years. I didn't realize the trauma that it inflicted on me and the lifelong struggle that it became. It's more specifically about recognizing that, and I think that's what healing is in a way. It's being able to look at something and see it objectively and realize that this is why you are the way you are, and it's not an excuse, it's just an explanation. So a lot of my teenage trauma that I went through with having an eating disorder and truly missing out on a good 10 years of my life because I decided to starve myself in ways that actually affected me in ways I didn't know would be affected simply by not eating. But things like that are reflected on in the heal, and it ties together with the hurt that I recently felt. I realized why things blew up the way they blew up because of the way my mind is and because of my obsessive nature and trying to make up for lost years that when I was a teenager. So the heal is extremely therapeutic. I think you'll be able to relate to it not just as a Moonchild, OCD, obsessive person, sensitive person. I think anybody would be able to relate to it because I think we all have trauma at one time or another of our lives. So that's the second section, very important section. And then the third section is the longest section. It's the thickest part. It's about half of the book is the third section, which is the hope. So it goes the hurt, the heal, and the hope. And the hope was the most fun to write because the 2 main things I did throughout this collection that were consistent was taking a mood and taking a muse and making it everything. So during the hope, I would take little things that I liked and was intrigued by, like wisteria trees or like sage. I would take objects, things that were very healing and beautiful and aesthetically pleasing to me, my dolls. I would take things like that I would see as objects and I would create a poem out of it, and I would make that object my entire muse and mood. So mentally, I found psychological ways to look at different objects like sage or incense, or just the moon, celestial bodies. I took whatever I found physically beautiful And I decided to make that an entire poem and see how it mirrored my OCD mind and what it meant to me. And that was so much fun to write. So like I said, it's over half of the book that is really focusing on things that I found aesthetically beautiful, and I tried to make it have a psychological spin and be a motif for different psychological states. Like there's one poem called The Owl Mind, which I took as being anxiety and how it gets worse at night. I made the owl a symbol for the night and found my way to talk about anxiety through it. So pretty much the whole second half is very much taking different psychological states and turning it, you're looking at it through an object or a motif, something physically that exists in the world. And that was so much fun. So this video is kind of long, but I just wanted to talk about what exactly Moonchild Manifesto is about. Since I know I'm going to be advertising it a lot, I want you to know what went behind it. And that's basically it. Let me just quickly read the back cover, which is the poem Moonchild Manifesto, which summarizes this collection. You are a moonchild. You embody moods like phases in orbital rotations. Every moving body comes in cycles around a world you set your mind to. That's when the words begin to flow, like tides under your gravitational pull. You fall and you feel and you break, wondering how others could be so unfazed, because you are in love night and day, while the rest are just lost in space. That's Moonchild Manifesto, and that's a theme you will see throughout this. So please feel free to buy Moonchild Manifesto. I have it advertised on my website, Valerie Parente/shop. Well, it will come up because I know it's hard to find on Amazon right now because I'm not like famous or anything. Or you could try finding it on Amazon under Moonchild Manifesto and my name, Valerie Parente, but you're more likely to find it immediately by going to valerieparente.com. Specifically Valerie Parente/shop, but you'll find it on valerieparente.com. Thank you and enjoy the book. Bye.